Right, so as I was saying, this is Millfield. Most of you will probably recognise it is as you walk into Millfields from the car park. But let's actually start out in the car park, where there's a very fine example of a common mallow. You can see that there's quite a bushy plant with nice big flowers and almost entire leaves, you know, that they're complete. There's not sort of lots of feathering and things, as opposed to the, why is it? Opposed to the musk mallow, which you'll find within Millfields. As you can see, the flower there is a lot more open, and the leaves are very, very feathery. You know, but come into Millfields, you pass the hedge where there's some bindweed. Now this is large bindweed as opposed to any other variety, and you can tell that this is large bindweed because of the large bractels which are at the bottom of the flower that overlap. In other forms of bindweed, you know, there's a sort of a gap between. Now we'll go at the sort of white, so umbrella type flowers. Lots of people, as you're driving along, you'll see them on the sides of the roads and you sort of think, oh, it's cow parsley. But there's actually quite a lot of white umbrella-like flowers. Cow parsley is more or less finished flowering now, so it's not cow parsley you're seeing. Ones that are fairly easy to identify is the wild carrot, because of the feathery brown bottom of the flowers. And also you'll see that in the centre, the very centre flower is a pinky or red colour. It sometimes even looks as if there's an insect sitting in the middle of it. But if you look closely, it is the central flower is a pinky red colour. Another of these white umbrella flowers is hogweed. Now don't worry, this isn't the giant hogweed. You'd know if you'd seen that, it would tower over you. This is a very common plant. And again, the leaves on this are sort of more complete than a lot of other, these sort of umbrella flowers. You know, particularly cow parsley is very feathery. Now, another one that you might think is in the same family is yarrow, because it has this sort of bunch of white flowers, but this is actually in the daisy family. If you look closely at each individual flower on that flower head, they look more like daisies. And note the very feathery leaves again. A month or so ago, if you walked through Millfields, it would have been a sea of pink from the red campion. Now, red campion is a plant that is dioecious, which means two houses, which means they have male flowers and female flowers. The male flowers have the stamens, and the female flowers, the styles, or the female parts of the. At this time of year, you're probably seeing just the male flowers, because the female ones are now producing these little sort of like seed heads dying off, but the males are still there showing off all their finery. Related to the red campion is also the white campion. So can anybody tell me whether this is a male or a female flower? Because again, this is dioecious, and you'll find that when you get white campion and red campion together, they hybridize quite a lot. And so that's why you've got the range of peaks within Millfields, because you've got the red and the white have hybridized together. While I'm talking, I'm just sort of, if you've got any questions, there should be somewhere on your screen a chat facility. If you want to type any questions you've got into that, then at the end, Catherine, Meg and I will have a go at trying to answer anything. Okay. The common nettle, stinging nettle.
Marta, please put your mic off.
So that the common nettle is, again, a dioecious plant. It's got the male flowers and the female flowers. But it's something that the wildflower group haven't worked out which is which yet, because there's such tiny little flowers you can't see where, you know, even with our little lenses, we have trouble finding the stamens and styles and such like. So if anyone knows anything, let us know which is which. But these flowers sort of hang in these sort of catkin-like like flower clusters. But, you know, don't be confused with the white dead nettle. It might, the leaves might look like a nettle, but this won't sting you, and it has got very distinctive white flowers. Within the same family, you'll also get red dead nettle, but ones that are slightly different to the dead nettles are the woundworts, and this is the hedge woundwort, which is a red one. You get many different varieties of that in different colours. Now we had stinging plants, now we've got prickly ones. The thistles, there's quite a lot of thistles in Millfields this year. You've got the creeping thistles and the spear thistles. The creeping ones are more of the mauvey colour and slightly smaller flowers. And if you look closely, the stems on that, the flower stems, don't have any spines on them. But the spear thistle, you'll see, has got spines all the way up its stems, as well as those lance-like, well, spear-like points on the ends of its leaves and all the way along its leaves. One of the unusual flowers that you'll, or certainly the wildflower group have never seen it before, you'll see in Millfields, is the bristly oxtongue. Because the flowers in Millfields have been sown from a wildflower seed mix, they're not necessarily indigenous to this area of the country, or not common in this area of the country. But the bristly oxtongue, you know, it's all spiky and everything like the thistles. But we've decided this one is a bristly oxtongue because of the blister-like bristles with swollen whitish blisters on its leaves. So, you know, the wildflower group has not seen this before. There are plenty of other flowers that you'll see up in Millfields. The hedge mustard, that's quite a small flower. It might look a bit bigger in that picture, but you'll have to sort of really hunt within the grassy area to find those. But ragwort, you'll probably see fairly easily. And the melilot is quite a tall flower with sort of pea-like flowers on it. Common knapweed, it might look as if it's a thistle flower, but if you look, there's no spikes and spines on it, and it's much smaller and neater than lots of the thistles. Cornflower is a pretty little blue flower you'll see around. Now this bird's foot trefoil, you know, this again shows us that this is from a wildflower seed mix, because this variety is all yellow, whereas normally bird's foot trefoil is low growing. This one's quite tall, and it has red and orange tinges. So this one you might find growing in your lawn, and you can see why it has the common name of eggs and bacon. It's the bright yellow and the red of the bacon. So that one isn't in Millfields, it's the yellow variety. Now, Oxeye Daisy and Fat Hen, they're both quite big flowers, but this hedge bedstraw, that picture is a very close-up one. They're very tiny, delicate flowers. And again, you'll have to sort of hunt for that one a bit more. It doesn't shout its presence. And note the little sort of starlight flowers of the hedge bedstraw. And then there's a couple of ones that it's well worth trying to look out for, because they are endangered species within Britain, and it's only really within sown meadows like this that you'll see them. And that's the corn cockle, which is literally just coming into flower now. When we were looking at the beginning of July, we saw one. When I went back to photograph it for this talk, I couldn't find it. But then last week I was going down to get a few more photographs, and I found one at last. It's just opposite the skate park is the one I saw, but they are beginning to come up a lot more. And the corn marigold is another one to have a look out for. We saw one at the beginning of July, but I haven't seen it since. I went back to try and get a better photograph, but haven't found it. So, do look out for those ones. So, that is just a glimpse of some of the flowers that you can see in Millfields. I hope you've enjoyed this little talk and have put up with all my technical glitches. But I'll now hand you back to Catherine and Meg to try and get the questions answered. Thank you.